Okay, welcome back to the channel, and today we are going to be looking at the sleeping mat components of the Ultimate Sleep System Challenge, more specifically the three that I have used over the course of the series. Now, this was requested by Andy Wardle, Buckout. This is for you, my bro, dedicated for you. And so what I have here is what I think are probably three of the very most comfortable pads on the market right now. Now, the reason why I have chose these is because they are exceedingly thick, exceedingly big, exceedingly wide, and they are all made for comfort. Now, as you may know, recently sleeping pads have been designed thicker than usual. You kind of get used to sort of somewhere between 8 and 10 centimeters thick pad across all pads, Therm, Lite Torv, all sorts of things, Expeds, whatever they may be, sort of traditionally are sort of 10 centimeters thick, and that is kind of considered to be plush. But recently there has been an influx of 12 centimeter, 11 centimeter pads in the thickness area, and also made specifically for comfort, for side sleepers, for big people, whatever it may be. So, and we'll chat in. Here we are behind me. We have the three that I have chosen. The Thermarest NeoLoft. This is, of course, in the large. We have the Exped Megamat Lite 12. And, of course, the brand new challenger in the building over here, the Nortent Torv 7 pad. All three of these are beyond the 10 centimeter thickness, which puts them squarely into my comfortable pad bracket. Like I say, Nature Hike do one at the moment that's about 12 centimeters thick. Big Agnes have got the Campmeister Deluxe, I think it's called, but it's only that thick on the edge. It goes back to being sort of 10 centimeters in the middle, but it does have these material sort of tops that's now becoming popular, stretchy material. So it could be worth me looking at that one day. However, it's like 230 quid still, so I think I've probably got enough comfortable pads for one man. Let's have a look through what we have here. Of course, like I said before, this is the Thermarest NeoLoft. This is an excellent pad. It weighs in at just like 910 grams. As you can see, it's tall enough for somebody like me at 6'3". This is part of the system that I had, honestly, the most comfortable sleep I've ever had on.
I had a fabulous sleep. That bed is amazing.
In a tent. It was this and the Zenbivy. If you've been following the series, you'll know that I paired this and the cinchable pillow from Thermarest with the Zenbivy light bed with the convertible footbox, and that genuinely is the best bed I've ever slept in outside, without doubt, by miles. So that cost 850 quid together. This on its own is £230 in the large. What I like most about this packs down into the same size as a X-Therm or Neo Air, I believe it's called. Very good for the size of it. Excuse me. It's rated at 4.7R. For comfort, I'm definitely giving this a 9 out of 10. This is without doubt like a special sleeping pad. For what it packs down to, what temperature rating it can take, you're looking at probably like -15 or something with this. So, you know, 4 seasons as good as damn it, definitely in this country. So, wonderful piece of kit. Now, the elephant in the room, this big bad boy. This is the Exped Megamat Lite 12 in the long wide. Now, I've had to wedge it underneath my roof here because actually, let's get her out. She's quite tall. This is a beast of a mat. There aren't very many reviews of this on YouTube. I do believe that's because of the weight of it. Now, I did test this out in Wales not too long ago, and it went down on me, and that would be because I put a hole in it. I've since repaired the hole and slept on it again, and the first time I slept on it, I was quite impressed with it. the second time I slept on it, it just reinforced what I thought I already knew, which is, controversially, this is without doubt the most comfortable blow-up sleeping pad I've ever used. Now, I know I just said that the most comfortable sleep that I've ever had in a tent was the NeoLoft with the Zenbivy. That was before I slept on this. I've slept on this probably a dozen times now, the NeoLoft. I've slept on this probably 3 or 4 times now, the Exped, and I've slept on the Torv 7 2 times. So I can confidently tell you that out of the NeoLoft and the Exped is actually more comfortable. I'm just going to let that sink in. I said it. I have said it, and I've said it, and I'll say it again. Say it again. This is the most comfortable blow-up sleeping pad on the market, in my opinion. Now, the elephant in the room is, it weighs 1,190 grams. And as you can see, it's a big old boy. Look at it. You've got to have the right size tent for this as well. Or it's touching corners. I had this in the Vern run. It was touching corners. The Torv 7 touches in the corners. The NeoLoft kind of touches in the corners. So, you know, whatever. But for 1.2 kilos, there aren't a lot of people that are going to put up with that, I don't think. However, I believe you're thinking about the wrong thing. Unless you're going on a multi-day hike, if you're going to carry a few beers, why wouldn't you just put an X? Look at this thing. Now, it is literally 12 cent. I mean, we're not mucking about. I'm going to turn this sideways a bit there. Look at the size of that. It is humongo. Yeah. I mean, if you're only going out for a one-dayer, up a hill, I couldn't think of, look, I mean, honestly, you go up a hill and then lay that out and blow it up. Yeah. So, she's rated at 5.2 R rating. It's like 198 I mean, a proper 198 centimeters by about 66 or 68 wide. Like I say, a full 12 centimeters thick. It has a different type of insulation in this one. It's got some synthetic insulation on the top and on the bottom layer, which you can actually see when you blow it up. You can open it up and you can see there's a layer of loveliness inside there. So, I mean, this, for comfort, I'm going to call this a 9.5. This just about pips the NeoLoft. The NeoLoft is fantastic, but this genuinely is actually just straight designed for comfort. Nothing else. I mean, it packs down, kind of. It will go in your bag, but it's like a loaf of bread. We'll show you that very shortly. And so, yes, this, Mr. Wardle, if you're happy to carry this bad boy up a mountain, seriously, mate, I can't lie to you, dude. This, honest to God, I'm 6'3". I've got a dodgy back. I've always had a dodgy back. Slipped a disc when I was a young lad, and it's just caused me no end of grief for the whole of my life. Plus, I'm lanky, so that's just what it is. I get a bad back. The NeoLoft and the Exped are both really very good, very comfortable. They've both got the stretchy material on there, barely makes any noise. Like right, so the Exped, like I say, absolutely, if we're talking comfort, just about pips the NeoLoft. It's a little bit more stable on the edges. It doesn't want to ping you off, as you know, with the old NeoLoft there. Whilst the baffles do raise slightly, once you get onto them, it wants to ping you to the other side of the tent. So you do have to kind of keep yourself positioned in the middle of it. However, again, 9 out of 10, no problem at all. Now, we move on to the beautiful Torv 7 by Nortent. Now, I've not had the best of times of this pad so far. I did get it on the introductory offer and it was sent to me about a week ago. As you may know, I've been planning to use this as the budget attempt at challenging these bad boys. And I still am going to do that. However, it seems that Nortent have had a bit of a nightmare with the manufacturers, and a batch of these have come out with dodgy welds. Now, I wanted to get a perfect example of one to show you. However, it would seem that Nortent are a bit slow in replying at the moment. And also, they may not have any stocking until September. Well, I'm not waiting until September. One of my very many skills in life is making bikes and repairing bikes, specifically inner tubes. So I got on to Nortent, let them know what's happening, and I also decided that I was not going to wait until September, and I'll just repair the welds myself. It ended up with two faulty welds. There are a lot of people knocking about with two faulty welds. I couldn't even use this once, and it's taken me about a week to repair it properly enough that I trust it. We will get into that another time. However, we now have a fully working Torv 7 that I have now used twice this week. I didn't film any of them. I just wanted to get it done and see what it was like. It was only sort of around the house and in the back garden, just to make sure that she wasn't shipping air anymore. And what I have discovered is that for the money, Nortent actually have done a really, really decent job. As you can see, this has vertical baffles a la the Exped, which I quite like. It's very good for pressure relief and stability. This comes in at 11 centimeters. Now, when I'm looking at it next to this Exped, I cannot lie, it looks probably about 75% of the thickness. I should really get a ruler or something and check this out. However, it's still quite thick. 11 centimeters is beyond the 10 centimeter sort of boundary that normal sleep pads have been using. And so I've laid on it. You can pump it up enough that when you sit on it, you won't bottom out. You can let her down enough that you will sink into her lovely and still have a decent bit of support, quite much like the Exped. However, the Exped is a little bit more forgiving because it has the stretchiness on there, whereas the Torv 7 is slightly more firmer. Obviously, this is just your standard sort of whatever it is, crinkly stuff. We do have the Mylar inside there, so it is ever so slightly crisp packety, but not, I would say, not anywhere near an X-Therm, which they can hear you in different countries. I'm going to call this possibly a very decent 8.5 if we're comparing them to the wonderful news that is the Thermarest and the Exped here. 8.5. Now, the difference between these is price-wise is quite stark. This cost me £77 with delivery as an introductory offer. It will go up to around about £100 when they're available in September. And I've got to be honest, now that it works and everything, I think that's bloody good. I can't lie. £100 for something this big, I would be quite chuffed if I got up a mountain or a long hike and this come out and was in my tent and laid down on that. I'd be very, very happy indeed. Now, she only weighs 750 grams, okay? That is almost half of what the Exped is, and it is a good 150 grams lighter than the Neoloft. So if you're counting the grams, this is only like 70 grams heavier than an X-Therm, I think, or 100 grams heavier than an X-Therm, and 70 grams heavier than like a light Tor 7.5. This bad boy is rated to 7. I have heard reports that there are cold spots in it. I personally have not experienced any cold spots so far, and I'm pretty susceptible to them. However, it is the late spring, early summer, so the proof will be in the pudding later on in the year, I suppose. Now, I can say that if you, like I said earlier, if you've only got £100 to spend, man, I would get this. Why not? The others, though, unfortunately, are quite expensive. They are luxury pads. Now, I got very, very, very lucky with this Exped by the looks of it. I paid for it £175. And then when I went back to look for specs on the website, it was back up again for £230 or £240. Yeah, I mean, listen, at £175, I jumped at it. Whatever way, this was going to be a base camp mattress for sure. But now that I've actually used it and picked it up, I wouldn't be too afraid of putting that in my sack with a nice, you know, a small blanket. I wouldn't have it with a sleeping bag, but a blanket, a quilt, of say, and you know, basically what I used in the Sleep System Challenge is perfectly fine. And I mean, that'll keep you warm for most of the year and extremely comfortable. Like I say, this is without doubt the most comfortable pad I've ever used. Yes, and so there we are. I am going to call it right now. The most comfortable pad ever is this bad boy. It is the Exped Megamat 12 Lite, long and wide. The best all-rounder for packability, for comfort, for R value, the whole lot. I'm calling the NeoLoft, okay? The NeoLoft, man, for how small it packs up, for how comfortable it genuinely is, so long as you stay in the middle. Excellent, good stuff, really good stuff. And the fact that it pairs with a Zenbivy on the 25 sheet, nice. Yeah, honest to God tier level bed. So we're going to call that a 9 in comfort, but best all rounder definitely goes to the Thermarest there. And we are special mention to this bad boy. I can't lie, for a budget comfort based pad, I am really very impressed with that. The only other thing I can think of, comfort based at budget, the Light Tour is very good. It's dimpled and it's quite thick. The Light Tour is very good. A non-insulated pad that I think is really very comfortable, but is very cheap, is probably, I would probably say, the Trekology UL80. However, this, honestly, if you're talking about £100 mark, I'm not sure, man, that you could beat this. Troubles with how it turned up aside, now that I've made it back to what it should be, and I've tested it, this is a really solid. I'm surprised it's a really solid pad, and it's their first ever attempt as well. So I'm sure a few more iterations and they will have dialed that in pretty good. So there you are. If I was you and I was going to get a pad that I wanted to last me for a very long time and guarantee me sleep and still be able to carry it maybe on 2 or 3 day hikes, I'm probably going to go for the Thermarest. If I'm going for a single day, not very many miles, or I've decided that I'm not going to carry 6 beers, I'll only carry 4, guess what, man? This wins by like a mile every single time. The only thing I would say about this is if you was going full comfort and you wanted to take a Zenbivy, if you've got a Zenbivy, make sure you get a 30-inch sheet, because this is so thick that the 25 doesn't go around it, unfortunately. However, this is a dark horse, and I can see me using this on long distance hikes if I'm counting serious grams, but I still want to be not bottoming out ever when I get into my tent. This is a serious consideration. A serious consideration. 750, 11 centimeters thick, R rating of 7. Material is strong. Do you know what I mean? I can't see too many reasons why you wouldn't want to get this. This is pretty good. This is pretty good. Now, Exped do pads in the same sort of manner as this, and so do Big Agnes, but they are very much more expensive. Now, this video I made because I was asked by the legend that is Andy Wardle. Andy, to save you some money, mate, I hope I have done a job. If you're going to go for the cheapest thing and still get a decent kit almost every time, there's no real reason why you couldn't go with the Nortent there, dude. If budget is a thing, it's cool, man. You could side sleep on this. There's no reason why you wouldn't have fun on it. However, I can't attest for how it reacts and behaves in the cold. Okay, it's going to be a little while before anybody can, I do believe. So as you can see, all three of them come with pump sacks, which I'm now about to quickly get rid of. Goodbye. See you in a minute. Okay, and using the magic of editing, I will turn these back into their pack shelf in 3, 2, 1. There you go. Yeah, back to normal. Right. As we can see, let's just get it in and out and in and out. The Thermarest NeoLoft, the Nortent Torv 7, and the Exped Megamat Lite. As you can see, they are reasonably similar. The Torv and the NeoLoft, but if we put them up against the big bad boy that is the Exped, as you can see, it's quite a lot rounder. Now, it's not particularly that much taller. Of course, tallness extends to width, and they're all the same width. So there we are. If you're going to stick this in your bag, you probably are going to notice it. However, I really like this. Okay, so there we have it. We have all three of our pads from the Ultimate Sleep System Challenge. I am going to pair this with the quilt and the pillow for the budget attempt, and I'm sure it is going to be a cracking system, especially for the money. Mr. Wardle, I hope this was helpful to you and to anybody else that is watching this. Hopefully I've saved you some money. This has altogether cost me a pretty penny for science. It's for science. I've done it for you guys. It's fine. And also, I've now got 3 really good pads in, so who's complaining? If you enjoyed that and would like to see more, I am currently thinking about doing a guide to quilts, because I've got loads of those, so I can show you around quilts. I think I've probably got a decent amount of knowledge now with the amount that I've gone through. Yes, if you'd like to see any of those sort of things, we've got a few more adventures coming up. Like, subscribe, share, comment, make yourself a cup of tea, get involved, watch the backlist, all that good stuff, and I will see you very soon. Thank you very much, and take it easy. Sleep well. Bye now.